will become that person who always want to have a conversation about everything all the time. Like, salut tout le monde, welcome back to the channel. If you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Francia, and on this channel, we talk about lifestyle, beauty, makeup, fashion, life, and everything in between. So I hope you consider hitting your subscribe button and your notification bell so that you always know when I upload. I usually agree with Candace a whole lot, but I disagree with her on some of the stuff that she said in that video. First of all, she said this.
And you sort of feel like people are going into therapy and they're actually becoming worse people, likely because their therapist is telling them that literally everything they do is okay and can be understood, right? As long as you talk about all the bad things that you're doing and all the bad things that you're feeling, then it's all right.
I don't know where she's getting that information from, but I'm not saying there are not therapists out there who are practicing this way, but I don't know it's the majority of them, if any of them at all, are talking to people like this. I believe what Candace is trying to say is that there's a practice to try to understand where certain behaviors are coming from. Just because you're looking at the root cause of the problem does not make the problem okay. I don't know if that makes sense. So a lot of the times the therapist will try to help you figure out why you behave a certain way rather than saying your behaviors are great, keep them. You get what I'm saying? So I don't know why a therapist would tell you that everything is okay as long as you talk about it. And then she said a lot more. She said a lot more. Watch this.
Some stuff you really do have to just let roll. Otherwise, you become unbearable. If you want to talk about every single feeling you have, you are entitled to have feelings. What you aren't entitled to is to share them with everybody all the time. And I think that is what therapy is doing to people. It's encouraging them to overshare, right? To tell them that every single feeling that they have is valid.
I do agree with the part where she said some stuff you just have to let roll. You really do have to let some stuff roll because you will become annoying. You know, if I'm gonna be honest, you will become annoying. You will become that person who always want to have a conversation about everything all the time. Yes, your feelings do matter, but do I need to validate them all the time? No, I do not. I don't want to. I'd want to. So that I do agree with. The part that I disagreed with was when she said that is what therapists are doing. They're telling people that every single feeling is valid, and as long as you talk about every single one of them, you overshare. Like, it has not been my experience with any therapist that they're telling people to go out there and overshare. It's gonna make you a better and a stronger person, and this is what therapy is about. That part I disagreed with. But you would think she would be done. Oh, nay.
That is what happens in these sessions that I'm referring to, right? You have a person who does something that is potentially wrong, and rather than say to them, hey, you did something wrong, it doesn't matter really why you did it, but you need to take accountability and understand that it's wrong, the therapist sort of says to them, well, what you did is understandable because what you suffered when you were a child makes every horrible thing that you are doing currently understandable.
I don't know where she's getting that information from. I don't know every single therapist on the face of this planet, so I don't know. I don't know who is saying this stuff. You don't have to have a degree in mental health or psychiatric health to know that that's not a thing. Like, even when your kid does something, you're not gonna say, oh, this behavior that you have right now is because you're hungry. Here, go ahead and slap this person because you're hungry. You know what I mean? You may understand that they're fussy because they're hungry, but that does not excuse their behaviors. You still have to guide them. So the role of the therapist is to still guide you and help you understand your behaviors and figure out where things are coming from so that you stop behaving a certain way while still making you understand that that's still not the correct behavior, which is why we're trying to understand where it's coming from in the first place so we can fix it. So it is beyond me why she thinks that therapists are excusing people's behaviors because of what happened to them when they were a certain age. I do not know where she's getting this information from at all. But anyways, moving on to the next part.
That you have people sitting in a chair telling people that their feelings are all that matter, that no matter what they do in this world, it's perfectly okay because of some tragedy or upset that they suffered when they were 5 years old. And what has it produced? Well, it's produced a society of men like Prince Harry and women like Adele who overshare, who tell us way too much. And it's not a society that I want to live in.
Again, I asked the question, where is she getting this information from? I don't know any therapist that's, but again, correct me if I'm wrong. Does anybody know any therapist that's sitting around telling people that facts don't matter? All that matters is their feelings. Does anybody have that experience? Because I'm not aware that that's a thing. Even someone who is not a therapist is not going to tell anybody that facts don't matter. There is her whole thing about, if you show any vulnerability, then you're weak. I don't know that sharing your feelings makes you a weak individual, but I will say, again, the little bit that I agree with, it all depends on who you're sharing your feelings with. You don't have to show vulnerability to the world, but you also don't need to not be vulnerable. You just have to choose your audience. She does not want to live in that society. Oh, nay. But here is her ideal society. This is the society that Candace would love to live in. This is where she feels like she would thrive. Take a listen.
I want to live in a society like the one that my grandfather lived in. And I tell people this all the time. I never saw my grandfather cry a day in his life, even when I knew he was positively destroyed and heartbroken when we lost my grandmother, surprisingly.
Okay, I'm just gonna go on a limb here and say that ideal society that Candace has in her mind that she wants to live in never existed. Just because you never saw him cry doesn't mean he never did. And you were a kid. A lot of older adults don't like to be vulnerable in front of children because they do not want you to see them that way. I really thought she was gonna say she never saw him cry, and she's sure he was devastated. I'm like, yes, I'm pretty sure he did in private, blah, 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 this, that, and the next. And then she said this.
He was one of those men that believed that no matter what you were going through, you let it burn in your chest.
What? I'm just at a loss for words. You don't need to be vulnerable with the entire world. I would agree with that. But if someone is sad or has tears at a funeral, I'm not gonna look at you as a weak person. That is like a normal setting to be vulnerable in. I don't think if someone sees a man crying at a funeral, you're gonna think of this man as being weak. And then she said her grandfather believed that whatever it is that you were going through, you let it burn in your chest. Oh my gosh, no. Please don't let that be the blueprint for how we go through this life experiencing feelings and emotions, because that's very unhealthy. Everybody deserves a safe place to express their feelings. And I feel like that's something that men didn't always have, because they were always expected to have this emotional wall. Men never had a space to express themselves. There's this stigma that only women can express themselves and men shouldn't, because it makes them weak. That's very unhealthy and that's very toxic. And if you need a good therapist, I'm going to link in the description some resources that could be beneficial to you if you're thinking of talking to somebody. Please don't take Candace's experience with her grandfather or her environment as the norm. That is not the norm. There's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to explore the things that you feel so that you can have a better understanding on how to act on said feelings, so that you make the right decision for yourself and for your loved ones. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Do you go to therapy? Do you know someone that goes to therapy? Do you agree with Candace? Do you disagree with Candace? Like, what parts did you agree with and what did you not agree with? Let me know. Share your thoughts down below in the comment section. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I will see you guys in my next one. But until then, I hope to see you in the comment section. Bye.